What is up, everyone? The Brothers Williams here again with not quite a what makes a great review and not quite a what we're looking forward to, but a bit of both today. And we're talking about Star Wars. Now, my brother and I, we are huge Star Wars fans. We love everything about it. The movies were great. We love the books, the video games, especially the Old Republic series. Yeah.
When the Star Wars games get the Star Wars feel just right.
Yeah. However, there has been a black mark in our love of Star Wars, and that has been thanks to the takeover of Disney films taking over Lucasfilms.
Yeah. I mean, it first started when they decided to retcon out of existence all other canon besides the movies, basically.
As you've seen in a previous video, Disney executed Order 66 on the expanded universe.
Yeah, so anything that wasn't
Disney approved, basically.
I mean, if it wasn't on TV or in the theaters, it wasn't canon. So, so that was first like, why?
That was the first red flag.
Yeah, because I mean, even within the expanded universe, there was different varying levels of canon. You know,
but there was a general acceptance of how things work.
Yeah, and so they could have taken a totally different approach that said, okay, what we do in our movies is going to be primary canon. The rest of it can kind of, happens, and I guess I don't know, but like. They didn't have to just wipe it all out. They could have taken a different approach, but we're not here to talk about that policy. But really, when Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens came out, that really...
It was a big letdown.
Yeah, I saw it opening night, and I sat down in my car afterwards, and I was just like melancholy. I was like, man, what's going on? Because I mean, we went to Revenge of the Sith opening night, right?
I did. I don't know if you were with me.
I don't remember if I was there.
I don't think you were with me.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, so I mean...
Revenge of the Sith opening night was great. It was everything I had expected, and it was my first opening night, so it was a big setting up for, well, will I ever go to one of these again? But no, great experience. Loved the crowds, loved the movie. Everything about it was great, and it was everything I was expecting and more.
Yeah. The problem with The Force Awakens is that, it's not like I knew what I was expecting.
None of us really did.
Yeah, but at the end of it, I guess I wasn't expecting what they gave me.
It had somehow become predictable without us expecting it.
Yeah. And, I mean, the whole film was visually very, very awesome, very great.
Yeah, it looked great.
Visually.
The effects were amazing.
Yeah, I mean...
Very eye-pleasing.
It looked like a Star Wars film.
It definitely did.
But... to me, it felt like a giant, what's the word? Fanfic? Almost.
Yeah, almost. It felt like the characters had been cut and glued into the story of an existing Star Wars story, and were somehow forced into this jigsaw of how a story should fit together. And, if you force a jigsaw piece into a wrong place, sure, it'll fit, but it's not going to look right.
Yeah. And added to that is the, by now, very common complaint that Episode 7 was a rehash of Episode 4.
Which it basically was.
It was, except for J.J. Abrams was like, but we're just going to make it bigger, and George Lucas's Star Wars will look like not Star Wars compared to my Star Wars, because we got a Jedi girl who's more Force sensitive than Luke ever was, and
bigger Death Star.
The Death Star is a whole planet that sucks in the sun because of thermal oscillator, and it blows up 5 planets instead of 1. It's a big red laser. And our bad guy, like, your bad guy had 2 lightsaber blades on his lightsaber. Our bad guy's got 3 lightsaber blades on his lightsaber. And space Nazis are worse than evil empire. And your bad guy
and
had...
girl stormtrooper.
Girl stormtrooper, because diversity and black stormtroopers. And you
I didn't have a problem with that.
That's fine. That's cool. But it felt like they were just thrown in there to be diverse rather
Just
than...
to be there.
Yeah, instead of giving them, like, actual meaning, like an actual...
actual purpose for the story, rather than just...
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah, and it's just so...
Oh, and by the way, as far as Rey being the first female Jedi... Okay, I think everybody's kind of forgotten about the several female Jedi that were introduced in Attack of the Clones. But it's a prequel, so we all hate it.
Yeah.
Or some bull like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the main complaints for The Force Awakens, the character development was very poor. It didn't feel like the characters belonged there. The storytelling was predictable and not very well executed. And then, of course, the music, which is half of Star Wars, because John Williams is an amazing composer. I can't remember a single beat of music from that movie that feels like anything. Like, I couldn't even sing it if someone were like, yeah, do a few bars from this particular scene. I'd just stand there like, I can't remember it.
Yeah. I mean, not all of the Star Wars films have, like, super memorable music.
Mm-hmm.
Like Episode 2, I'm struggling to think of a song from it, but I mean, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, you've got the
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates. And then Episode 3, you've got Duel of the Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Battle of the Heroes was an amazing piece.
Yeah.
I love it.
And, you know, Episode 4 has so many... I mean, that's what
many iconic songs.
Starts the iconic songs, and really...
Like, you could watch it like a silent movie with that music, and you would still get what's going on. With The Force Awakens, you can't do that.
Yeah, there's... I mean, you don't get that same level of musical, symphonic iconicness that you get from the other films, which... kind of, I mean, other people have talked about this, but it does kind of come down to the directors and what their expectations are from the composers. They'll put in music to hold the place during editing, and then they get so attached to this placeholder music that they're like, now make it sound like this, and it turns into recycle-a-thon in Hollywood. That no movie now has really original soundtracks, which is a shame, you know, that so many of them lack this originality. Anyway, yet another subject.
Yeah. So, the question with this becomes, will they make up for all this lack of backstory for our characters? Lack of lines from Luke, which was a huge moment that we were all waiting for, and then they let us down with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an extended trailer for Star Wars. I mean, there's zero resolution.
Yeah, nothing got solved in The Force Awakens.
No.
Except they blew up a weapon. That was it.
And the weapon blew up some planets. That, again, there's no real significance.
Yeah, there's no significance to the planets. What planets were they? Who lived on them? We don't know. I mean, at least
they're just faceless masses.
At least with the first Death Star,
with Alderaan,
it was Leia's home planet. Yeah. We had that connection. This is where I grew up. This is where I lived.
Here's all the people I know and love on this planet, and he's just like, ba-ba-boom!
And then with The Force Awakens, sure, billions of people died, but...
Yeah.
Who were they? Why should I feel bad?
It was more effective in Episode 4 without showing citizens of the planet looking at the laser beam coming in.
Yeah.
You saw none of the people who lived on the planet.
But
it was more emotional impact because you see Leia and her reaction. Whereas you don't see anybody, like, nobody's like, oh crap, my best friend was on that planet. Like, nothing.
No. They were just like, oh, the First Order's attacking the Republic. Are you sure? That could have been any random 5 planets.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well have just taken, like, a planet from Thor and put it in there and we wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no connection, I feel, that makes this loss impactful.
None at all.
Like, it's just another one of those, oh, we killed lots of people and because that's what people are supposed to do.
That's what bad guys do.
That's
they
what bad
kill
guys
lots
do.
Of people.
They kill lots of people and that's it, you know? Whereas it doesn't really fulfill a function of building any characters except for to illustrate, oh, they're so bad. Because, you know, the black masks and Nazi symbols and evil planning don't give that away, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah, the evil laughs don't give it away.
The fact that they're stormtroopers, yeah, that doesn't, you know, they're not real.
Yeah,
they're not bad.
As if we didn't know they were the bad guys already.
Yeah. And there's way better ways to illustrate their badness than just killing faceless masses.
Anyway, we've gotten a bit off topic, but that's okay because we're here to analyze these films and give our input on them. Now, with The Last Jedi, I've seen the most recent trailer, and I have certain expectations.
Yeah, and I have not seen the trailer, and I have no expectations.
None whatsoever?
I mean, I'm gonna guess that it's crappy based on based on how the Force Awakens went and how disappointed I was with that. I have no expectations for this film to be any good.
Even though you've seen all the other trailers?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen one of the trailers for for the new one.
There've been
The Last Jedi.
2 or 3?
I think I've only seen one, but it's like, whatever. I'm not excited for it because I don't know. You've got I want to call him Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, and he's like, I fundamentally disagree with everything you've decided for my character.
Yeah, that's always a bad sign when the actor doesn't agree.
Yeah, and
who's been doing the role for ages.
And Mark Hamill loves the Star Wars universe. He loves George Lucas and his vision for what the original Star Wars trilogy was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he really loves the Star Wars universe. So it's not like he's just some guy who played it once and then is like, yeah, screw that. He's invested, and from a storytelling point of view, he knows what he's talking about. He's produced several animated films. He's done a lot of work, a lot of voice-over work for a lot of
different characters.
Yeah, so I mean, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to storytelling. But yeah, so that's me. I don't really expect much good stuff to come from it. Yeah.
Well, as far as I go, since I have seen the last one, what I'm expecting is more or less sort of the same thing that we've already gotten. The First Order doing things bigger than the Empire did. The bad guys still doing, bad things and having characters that feel like they're there for the sake of having a character of that particular type there. Visually, it's going to look great. Rey,
she's going to continue to be more powerful than anyone ever before,
but still be a very weak written character.
Yeah.
I don't feel like she's going to be able to stay true to whatever ideals she has.
Yeah, there aren't very many ideals that she has because she grew up on this backwater planet just waiting around.
For someone who even she can't remember who it is.
Yeah, and Like, she doesn't really have a strong opinion one way or the other about the Empire, First Order, Rebels, whatever, whatever you want to call it. Like, if you look at Luke, he's like, I want to go fight the Empire. In the first, you see that he's wanting this adventure.
And Rey, we're given that with Rey visually, like she's hanging out in the remains of an old AT-AT. She's wearing old X-Wing fighter helmets and stuff.
Yeah.
She kind of has this desire for adventure, but when adventure is presented to her, she runs from it as if it's some sort of disease, and it's like, well, wait a second, where did this come from? And we never talk about it again.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just don't see her motivations clearly enough.
I don't think...
And, yeah, like, I
don't think we're going to get anywhere with her.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with their big baddie, Snoke. I mean, what kind of a name is Snoke anyway?
Yeah.
That's not the kind of name that inspires fear. Vader, that inspires fear. Sidious, Maul, Tyrannus. Heck, even when he was called Dooku, it was like, huh, that sounds kind of intimidating. We've got Snoke. Mr. Snow Cone.
More like Snope.
Anyway, so as far as what I'm expecting, they're going to try and do things bigger than George Lucas. The characters are going to feel cut and paste again. I'm not expecting a whole lot from the music, if The Force Awakens is any sort of indicator. I'm kind of hoping they go somewhere with Kylo Ren and his backstory, because what they've given us in the trailer, it's led to believe that there's going to be a lot of inner conflict with him, and I hope they do that. However, The Force Awakens left a bad taste in my mouth, and it's one that, unless they give me a heavy antiseptic mouthwash, I'm not going to be able to forget that taste.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're led to expect, I guess, or lack of expectations.
Yeah. But we will see the movie, and when we do, we will do an analysis of that and see if our expectations met what they presented to us.
Yeah, and hopefully there's a lot of character-driven decisions instead of disconnect between the characters and their actions, as kind of really what happened in Episode 7. Is there was a disconnect between character and action was not taken in a character-driven way.
No.
And in a lot of ways it went against what a lot of the characters we have come to know we expect them to do. So, anyway, let us know if you agree, disagree, down in the comments below. Hit us up with a like or subscribe if you haven't. And we will see you guys in the next video.
And that, as they say, is that.